Hey guys, Thomas the Solution here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie Blade Runner 2049. So just to preface this, I have not seen Blade Runner in a very long time, so I don't recall the events that happened in the original Blade Runner. So I'll be reviewing this movie much more as its independent movie and talking about just that on its own. Of course, this movie features Ryan Gosling and the return of Harrison Ford, and I think this movie takes place some 30 years or plus later from the original movie. I think that's the timeline. But the movie does start off with giving us the rundown of what replicants are, as well as the Blade Runners in which chase them. So we see Ryan Gosling's character, who has like this, who we later find out in the movie has this nickname because I think he's a replicant that just also happens to be a Blade Runner that finds other replicants, like that is his job. His name is K, just that. Well, it's a little bit longer, but they shorten it to K. He runs into this, or he goes to this location, and he meets this guy. He's like a farmer who's played by Dave Bautista, the wrestler, or former wrestler. I don't know which it is, but I don't know if he returned to wrestling yet or not. Um, so this farmer guy, Mr. Martin, played by Dave Bautista, is like knocked out and then killed. And Kay finds out some stuff, like he sees this tree, and then he's like having this stuff take pictures. He goes. Then we see him move into this little white room where he's asked a bunch of questions, and he has to say the same response. I assume, because that's what he was doing. Then he moves to the small hotel room where I would assume he lives. Then he talks to, or he gets talked to by this hologram, which ends up being his like hologram wife. And when she appears, she's able to change clothes, and uh, she gives, or he gives her this device that allows her to move outside of the house. So she's able to move outside, feel rain for the very first time. She like freezes up when he gets a message from his job. He meets with this guy or girl, I forgot which one it was, Coco, who does like this research on this dead body. And they discover that this replicant got pregnant, which was unheard of, I guess. Um, so this lady, I believe it was the lady in black or the lady in red, one of them, or in white, I should say. I don't remember either of their names. I don't think they were mentioned in the movie. I think the woman in black was called Madam throughout the movie, and I think it was her that gave him like the rundown of the mission to like take out any remaining evidence. So, anyways, while he's doing his job, Dave Bautista's words start like playing in his head as he's like brought down into this new building with some bald guy. So he's shown some future file um, where this other woman in white like takes him somewhere. She places like this orb on this computer and talks about Mr. Wallace, who I guess owns that entire building or owns a certain group of like um, replicants. I guess I don't know his exact job, but the whole Mr. Wallace thing, by the way, is something that doesn't get resolved by the end of the movie, so that's why I'm assuming that there's probably gonna be a third movie somewhere down the line, which is like, I don't even know why they decided to make this movie, but whatever. Money, whatever. So, anyways. Um, so, they take him to this old man, um, who ends up being Wallace, and this Wallace guy has like white eyes, and he's like a I don't know if he's like a replicant or if he just has a lot of robot parts, or I don't know what his deal is, but he like puts a chip in himself, and then he talks about how there's like all these other worlds that they have conquered, and then like he drops one of the replicants and then like kills her because reasons. So Wallace says he wants the child as well because he also knew somehow that there's a child on the loose that was born from replicants, or a replicant and a human. I'm not sure how that worked out. I'm not sure like all the details on that either, but um so anyways, Kay walks into this like ghost town, or into a town, I should say, and these like three ladies like walk up to him and they're like hitting on him, and then like two of them leave after whatever reason. One of them like stays and decides to talk to him for a bit. Um, so he's looking at these like this little item in this picture that he had, and he eventually ends up back in the house where the tree was, and then he burns the house down, and he takes care of that part of the mission that he was given. Um, and this woman in the white, who I don't know her name, she takes out I believe his name is Coco, the guy I referred to as earlier. I think that was him. Anyway, um, so uh, Kay's I think Kay goes to like his robo girlfriend, or whatever I want to call her, and she's like talking about her. No, it was not his girlfriend. Shoot, it was the madam that talked to him about his memories, and then forced him to like talk about his memories. So he talks about how his memories were implants, and then how he remembers this one thing with this horse, and then he leaves to go to the DNA archives, and he's like using this number, and then like uh and they let this girl out. uh so like he's like going through like these files, and then he sees like these two parameter things, I guess I'll call them, and like he sees like one for a boy and one for a girl. It supposedly said that the girl died and then the boy disappeared, and then he like starts to get shot at because people are onto him, or someone's onto him. Um, oh, because he was traveling after this. My notes are a little bit off. Sorry about that. But then because he's in the car now, so he gets like shot at when he's trying to move to a different location. His vehicle gets like this hook placed into it, and his girlfriend, his robo girlfriend, was like in the car, and then like she like disappears. The car crashes. The people that are near, I don't know if they were people or replicants, I don't know, but he stopped, and then he like tries to fight some of them off via like using close quarters combat and then shooting some of them, and then like he starts seeing them get blown up from the sky, and we see a cut to the lady in the white, who's also after the child, who's assisting him taking out all these people, or replicants again, I don't know. So he moves into this dome-like building where he sees a bunch of kids, um, and then he sees a character who I'll just call Morgan because I don't know his name, but it's the character who, this guy from The Walking Dead who plays Morgan in The Walking Dead, but in this movie, he's like some worker who has like all these child slaves, and they're all working for him or something along those lines. So the kids are just working on stuff. And Kay's like trying to just get info about what happened 30 years ago. Again, that's where I get the idea where the first movie took place 30 years ago. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but he stops for a moment seeing this weird hallway, but then continues to follow the guy, Morgan, again, I'm just calling him Morgan because I don't. He never said his name, so I'm just calling him that. Um, and the pages that gave the info were, of course, ripped out. So after Morgan leaves, Kay goes back to that place where he stopped, and then he starts heading down that hallway. He opens up this like crate or grate, I think that's the word I'm trying to find, and then he opens up the grate, and then he finds the same horse that he was in the dream. Um, so this like implies that he was the boy from the past, and he was the replicant he was sent out to kill. Again, that's just my theory. I'm not sure if that's 100% confirmed because they never really say it. Um, so, anyways, he goes to see this lady doctor, and she's like stuck behind this glass. Um, and this doctor lady is like this memory maker, and she like talks to him about a few things. He eventually like leaves, and then like has like this antenna thing broken that like shows his location in correspondence to his like robo wife. I think that's how it works. Anyway, so he's like he moves into this city district, I assume, and he's like talking to this guy who's like speaking a different language, and they can just understand each other. So it's kind of like the Tekken universe, or that's what I kind of saw it as when I was first seeing this scene. I assume that in the future or in this year they supposedly have implants where they could just understand each other. So, anyways, I guess you get some sort of info. I don't remember that much. So, the woman in white that I mentioned is now going after the madam, who is the woman in black. Sorry if I don't remember her name. She was just called Madam from what I can remember. So, anyways, Kay moves into this desert, and we see these large nude statues of women, and there's more nudity of women in this movie, by the way, just saying that now. Um, so he moves into this casino for reasons, and then he hears a voice after moving about for quite some time, and it ends up being Harrison's Ford character called Deckard. So Kay gets shot at, and then he's like hiding from him, and then they like end up in this concert room, and then they're like fighting each other, and he takes the punches, and then he's like, Harrison's character's like, yeah, I give up, kind of. So let's just go for drinks, and Kay's like, okay. So at some point in the movie, I forgot to write this in notes, but the wife started to call him Joe. And he's like, don't call me that. And then now he's like, when Harrison's Ford character's like, hey, what's your real name? And he's like, Joe. So he mentions, Deckard, that being, mentions this woman named Rachel, who is presumably the mother of the boy and the girl. So we've discovered that these are Deckard's kids, supposedly. I think that's, again, some of the details, I don't remember all of them, so apologies on that end. Anyways, so Kay's girl, the wife, comes back somehow. I don't know how that happened, but they were still found out. I think it was because he brought her back, maybe? I don't know, but they end up getting shot at by these like pilot people, and then like Ford tries to fight back when they get in, and then like Kay shoots three of them, and then the woman in the white is there. She eventually like beats him down, and then just like leaves him there, and then breaks like Kay's robo wife forever. And then we just see him sort of wake up in this different location. So he's not killed by the main villain who could have just killed him right there. Just putting that out there. This movie has a lot of like things that are kind of stupid. Kay is just fine all of a sudden, and the woman in red is talking to him again, and then he meets this other woman named Frieza. I think her name is like Frieza. I think that's how it's pronounced. Who's like the leader, or I guess she's the leader of the replicants, and they like want him to stand up for them, I guess. But I don't know if that really goes anywhere. That's the thing. It's like, because he ends up continuing his mission, but I don't know if his mission was their mission, if that makes any sense. Um, so through a series of stuff happening, they end up finding out that the daughter was alive. I think the woman mentioned that, the Fraser lady mentioned that the daughter was alive. And it cuts to the red-haired girl, the one in the doctor in the tube, so we can assume that she's the daughter because shooting and framing devices, I guess. So we see Wallace talking, to Deckard for a bit, and then he like opens Tyrell's files. I think Tyrell is was Tyrell? I don't even remember if Tyrell was the guy in the beginning, played by Dave Bautista, if that was his first name, or if it was someone else. I don't know. But anyways, there's like some file called Tyrell something file. So Wallace is like wondering if Deckard and Rachel meeting was destined. He then offers him like a Rachel lookalike, and then he's like, no, I don't want that. And then the fake is shot down by the woman in white. So Kay's like walking about, and then this blue hologrammed naked lady's like talking to him, and he's just like, nah, whatever. So then Deckard Cain is being moved to a different location, and then all of a sudden their vehicle is getting shot at, and it ends up being Kay, who's like, I don't want to, I'm just done with all this bullshit. So the lady in the white is like, okay, the little ship that they're on, or vehicle gets knocked down, so she decides to get out and fight Kay. They like fight each other for a bit, and then Kay sees that like Deckard has the potential to drown. He gets distracted and ends up being stabbed a bit, and like he grabs her when like they end up moving back closer to the car afterwards, and then like he like starts choking her in the car and then underwater to finish her off. So then Deckard saves Kay and vice versa at some point, and then he gives him the horse, and they eventually move back to the location where his daughter was, which again they go to that woman in the tube. And Kay just stays outside in the snow for whatever reason, and then we cut to Deckard putting his hand on the glass, and that is the end of the movie. But the big question is, what the hell happened to Wallace? Who the hell knows? And he's probably still out there with all his replicants, and oh no, another sequel. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say I liked the movie as much as I thought I would. There were some pacing issues here, obviously. Like, there's some really slow moments. The action, like, that fight at the end was pretty good, I guess. And the fight between Kay and Deckard was pretty good as well. But those happened closer to the middle and end of the movie. Again, there's like this huge missing piece of whatever happens to Wallace, so there's probably going to be a third movie, I guess. And there were just like quite a few characters who I never really got to know, because I kept referring to the woman in the white. I never got her name. The woman in black, as I mentioned, I believe the only thing they referred to her as is Madam. And then there's like the guy from The Walking Dead, whose name I don't think they ever said. So again, I just kept calling him Morgan, because that's the name I remember from The Walking Dead. And yeah, I don't know. I think this movie's okay. And like I don't remember enough about the original to compare it to this. But as a standalone movie, I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. I just think there's too much of a pacing issue, and there are things that are unresolved, and there are characters that just don't feel important enough. And I'm pretty sure there's like a few other things, like how Kay's wife came back, because I'm pretty sure her device was broken. So again, plot holes. He was left alive when he could have died. Plot holes. I think there's just too many issues here. But I did enjoy it a little bit. So again, a 6 out of 10 for this movie. Oh, so there it is. That's my review for Blade Runner 2049. If you enjoyed this review, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, bye!